Let's talk about lists in this lecture. So lists in R are like the most unrestrictive data type that is available to us. So in lists, it's like a bag where you can toss in whatever data that you want, and it's going to maintain the order, and it's just going to store that data there for you to access using some sort of a index. So since we talked about these other data types in R, let's just compare them to our list data type. So in the previous data types, we had a vector. And if we compare a vector to a list, in a vector, the restriction was that you can have only one data type and you can have whatever length you want. In a list, you can have whatever length, but it says you can have whatever data type in a list. You can store data frames, matrices, vectors, all sorts of things, even lists inside lists. When you move down to our matrix, we could have multiple vectors. So we could store multiple vectors, but they had to be of the same length. If we execute our warehouse matrix, if we go down this way, we can see that all of these vectors are of length 4. This vector is of length 4. This vector is of length 4. This vector is of length 4 as well. If you go across, all of these have to be length 3. All of these have to be length 3. All of these have to be length 3, and this one has to be length 3 as well. So that was the restriction there, as well as the fact that all of these have to be of the same data type. In lists, that restriction is not there either. You can have multiple vectors. You can have vectors of different data types. You can have other lists. So that restriction is gone as well. If you look at a data frame, which is a lot more like a list, in a data frame, which is our employee data frame, in this data frame, you can have vectors with different data types inside them. However, they have to, again, be of the same length. So the employee ID here has to be of length 7. The employee first name has to be of length 7. Employee last name has to be length 7, so on and so on. As well as for the records, the rows have to be matching the number of columns that we have so that we get a tabular sort of output. However, in lists, you can have uh, different data types, vectors of different data types, such as our employee ID and the employee first name, as well as having the different lengths. So employee first name could just be 3 elements long, and employee ID could be, say, 7 elements long. It doesn't really matter. There's no tabular structure. There's no sort of structure in lists. You're just tossing in a couple of different data and just adding a sort of a link between them by saying they belong to this list. So with that, let's define our own list. So we'll do lst and we'll say list, and we'll combine all of these data structures here that we have. We'll copy our grades, we'll copy selection. We have our warehouse, and finally we can put our employee in here as well. And let's now take a look at it as well. So we'll do an execution of this, and you can see here is our list. We have something like a double bracket here, and that's the way that we'll be subsetting in the next lecture. So you have your first element, and inside this element is another vector. You have another element, and inside that element is this vector, which is our selection vector. The third element is a matrix, and the fourth element here is a data structure. And none of these match the sizes of each other. So this matrix doesn't match the size of this data structure, neither does this one match here, or any sort of thing like that. It doesn't really matter what sort of data you're storing in, what structure of that data is. The list is going to gobble it all. So with that, we can do a little more of exploration of the structure of the list. So the structure function is going to give us a little bit of an understanding of what the dollar or what the first element is. You can access the dollar notation here as well, as we discussed in the data frames section. So the num is the first type of data. You can see here grades was the first one we submitted, so it is of num and it has 8 of these data elements inside it. The second one is logical and it has 8 as well. The third one is a matrix. It has a numeric matrix. It's 1 through 4 and 1 through 3. So you can see that since it provides us with a row section as well as a column section. That's how you would know. And it has more information about what the matrix is. And then it has a data frame, 7 observations of 5 variables. And if you remember, this is the same exact one that we saw for employee. So if we just do str employee and do a run, it's what it has done is it's basically just appended this on into a larger document. So this is sort of like the log document for the list, the structure document for the list, and it has just appended each of the individual data documents onto it. So with that, we can move on to some subsetting in lists, and let's see you there.